We all fail. We all make mistakes. It's what makes us human.
Between The Last of Us, Fallout, Borderlands, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Minecraft and Mario Bros, it is clear to see that Hollywood is looking at successful video games and trying to make a bit of money off of them. Now, Halo is another adaptation dropping on Paramount Plus in 2022 and continuing with Season 2 in 2024. So in this video, I want to answer the crucial questions. How successful is the TV series in adapting the beloved game franchise? What is the reaction of the community? And most importantly, how do I feel about it? I'll compare the TV series to the games, alright? But I also try to judge it on its own merit. Controversial spoiler alert, I like it. So Halo's live action prompts diverse reactions. There are significant deviations from the games with the original timeline, narrative and approach. John 117, our Master Chief, spends most of his time without a helmet or the armor. He talks about his feelings, he even gets a girlfriend at one point, and it's not Cortana. And there has been a controversy with Season 1 showrunners saying they didn't even look at the game during the production and told the first composer, Sean Connery, to create something completely new rather than use the original music from the games. And yes, these comments did not go down well, as you expect.
Slow down, you're losing me.
Now, some of it was taken out of context, but it is also a fact that the series went through 10 years of development hell, and in some ways didn't live up to fans' expectations. But how did we get here? So in 2005, there were plans to make a movie. Apparently there were some big names involved, but Microsoft had excessive demands, so the studios weren't thrilled about it. So the project didn't take off the ground. Then, in 2013, Steven Spielberg announced the Halo TV show.
And I'm incredibly excited about the great journey we're all on, the heroes, worlds, and wonders that Halo will take us on.
But the creatives had multiple issues and they just couldn't come up with anything interesting, I guess. So again, there was a delay. But then, a breakthrough, right? Halo was moved to Paramount Plus in 2021 when new showrunner Kyle Killen came up with a story. Despite the initial good vibes, there were setbacks like changes in the creative team, losing the director and later the showrunner Kyle Killen, with Stephen Kane taking charge. Of course, all of this happened during the pandemic, which slowed everything down, prolonging the filming from the initial 6 months to 2 years. After almost a decade since the initial TV show announcement, it finally got its first season in March 2022.
Find the Halo. Win the war.
But let's now address the criticism and if I agree with them. And the obvious first point is that in episode 1, Master Chief takes off his helmet. Now, this flies directly in the face of the games where you don't see the person in the armor. Well, you kind of see the eyes. And that's how it should be according to the internet. He also spends much time without the massive armor, which people find weird. And of course, we get to see his shredded body and his master cheeks. We also get to see another Spartan, Kai, dressing down. And my answer to all of it is this: it had to be done. Now let me explain. There is a massive difference between games and movies and TV. In games, even linear ones like Uncharted, we are the heroes. We do the quests, we save the world. And every one of us will have a personal experience doing that, an individual emotional journey. Now, on TV or in movies, it's not like that. We are watching the heroes doing stuff. And it's not like I feel I am John Wick when I watch John Wick movies.
Hello, Francis. Mr. Vic.
Right? I watch John Wick shoot everyone. That's it. Also, the emotional journey and storytelling try to have the same impact on everyone. So sad scenes are sad,
I'm tired, boss.
funny jokes aim to land, and heroic moments are impactful for the whole audience.
Assemble.
So it's not like everyone watching the film will have a personalized experience like in games, to an extent. That's why it is so difficult to adapt video games, and in my view, that's why they always get so much hate, because we expect to feel what we felt when we first played them.
We're all emotional on this one.
Now with Halo, they clearly wanted to tell Master Chief's story in the Halo universe. He is the main character, right? So they had to make him human and establish the connection straight away. Now I don't think it would work if we just watched a guy in a suit kill aliens for 9 episodes, even if some people think so, like in Mandalorian. That is not the story they wanted to tell. And I also think it was the right choice to take off the helmet in episode 1, at least we knew the direction from the start. But okay, there is more. So he gets emotional. He loses fights. And of course, he gets lucky. I don't personally agree with criticism targeting him as being emotional. I think the journey before and after taking out that emotion-numbing pellet was quite clean. However, I do agree that the bedroom scene was quite unnecessary, as there wasn't enough time to develop the relationship between him and McKee, and it was quite awkward. But it's also safe to assume they were both virgins, and the first time is usually awkward.
It's in. Oh my God, it's in.
So if they were going for that, mission accomplished. Let's now move to the world of design, storytelling, acting, and side plots. Nobody seems to like the Kwan Ha character, especially in season 1, and I agree, she's annoying. It is a side plot that I found quite unnecessary, with shallow comic book-like villains like Vinsher Grath. Like, the whole episode 7 delved deep into Kwan Ha Madrigal and the Desert Witch's story, and it's not good. It slows the pacing massively, and it takes such a detour from the main story. Also, the writing is just incredibly shallow. Kwan Ha has this innate drive, right, to follow in her father's footsteps and save Madrigal. Because of her actions, a lot of friends and family members get killed. Some, she's in the same room, she's watching it. And then how does she proceed to deal with it? Well, after a few seconds of grief and crying, back to normal. So there are many, many instances of that in her story. And that is my biggest criticism of season 1. The character development, especially secondary characters, is very shallow. So Miranda Keys, Spartans, Soren, they feel like, I don't know, ChatGPT wrote them and their dialogues.
You haven't been completely honest with me.
What do you mean?
My hair. It's awful.
No.
I just don't know what came over me.
Which affects how they act, and there is some wood there. And because of Kwan Ha's side plot, the story gets muddled, the pacing suffers as we jump from what's happening with Master Chief to a completely different planet and outpost. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing that, it's just that the pacing doesn't work. McKee is also quite underdeveloped, changing her allegiance from scene to scene. It's not good.
In the star system, you call us Barrow.
Can you show me?
I've never been there.
It's not all bad, right? I did like Master Chief. I think Halsey crushed it, and her sort of progress at all cost attitude was well presented.
Margaret, we are so close. Don't do this.
Goodbye, Dr. Halsey.
But let's move on to my expertise, sound. There has been changes in sound design from the games to the TV adaptation, that's expected. We can compare the plasma rifle sound, the assault rifle, Magnum. Some sounds had more weight in a game than in the series season 1, but overall, they did a good job. We can also hear elite swords, plasma pistol. I felt that Master Chief and his voice in the armor was good, and that his dialogue with Cortana was also alright, although sometimes she was a bit upfront in the mix. But, you know, it's also difficult to portray voice in his head on the screen.
Switch to secondary.
I know how the game is played, Quicksilver.
I'm not exactly sure what will happen when we fire it.
We'll head for the portal.
But overall, I was happy with the sound design in Season 1. I don't think it was outstanding, but it was okay. However, there was an element that I did not like at all, and that's unfortunately music. Sean Connery, the composer for Season 1, said that the showrunners did not want the TV series to sound like the game at all.
Well, I was encouraged and directed to that they were very specific that they wanted to not have it be. They wanted it to have its own unique thread and flavor.
And they succeeded, but at what cost? Connery is an experienced composer for TV series like 24, Homeland and Jessica Jones. So I can assume that because of the producers and showrunners meddling, we ended up with such a generic score. The music does not sound Halo-like at all. Like, there is no comparison to the original works of Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. Not only it is forgettable at best, but also I think that in many scenes it just doesn't fit. And you know, like I said, it's easy to point a finger at the composer, but I know a lot of people are always trying to push in and have their say, you know, the producers and the like. And that is the crux of the matter. I think because of the lengthy development time and many people offering their input, Season 1 had a range of issues which resulted in a decent but also quite a mediocre TV series. The subplots, the pacing, the sound design, the music, we can find issues with all these elements. Shallow character development, writing, and because of that, wooden acting made moments in the series very cheesy, like a mid-tier sci-fi series and not this massive hyped up game IP adaptation. Everything just looked too clean, too fake at times. And I know that Halo is a clean sci-fi like Mass Effect rather than your gritty cyberpunk, but still it just looked very sterile, very rigid. Leaving all of these problems aside, there was enough. There was enough in Season 1 to keep me interested. Not so I wanted to binge it, but just enough to keep going. The world that was familiar to me as I played the early games, the Easter eggs, the weapons, the armor design. I got hooked, even though it was with this tiniest, the smallest of the hooks out there. So I was looking forward to Season 2. And let's chat about that, shall we? So I think the studio listened to the feedback because there has been some big changes for Season 2 and it shows. First of all, the original showrunners were out and David Weiner took charge. They also changed the composer with Bear McCreary taking over. The second season landed better reviews and feedback online, and overall a lot more praise. So what's changed? Straight away, I noticed that the feel of the show was different. It was more real, more gritty, more dramatic. Cinematography, slow zooms, the color grading all pointed to a more violent world, not the sterile setting from Season 1. If Season 1 had more Mass Effect vibes, then Season 2 would be more like cyberpunk. There are a lot more British actors, and apparently, now I read somewhere that because they are not in a union and they're cheaper than Americans, now that's in general, not just for Halo. I'm not sure if any of that's true, but there has been a noticeable change.
It's all there. Let's review, shall we?
Miranda Keyes is gone for majority of the show. I think she was badly written in Season 1, which resulted in some mixed acting. But in Season 2 she has much clearer direction and it shows, even though her part was reduced. Kwan Ha's madrigal subplot completely ditched. And even though she still plays a part in the series, it's a very different one. She's more real, she's more authentic, and I didn't mind her as much. She's still annoying.
I came all this way by myself.
I just don't know why they go for this teen-like, rebellious attitude, but here we are. But overall, less irritating. The writing, the pacing, the design are much better. And the music, so much better. I am a fan of Bear McCreary and we can hear the difference. Even the intro theme was redone to fit the original feel of the game. There has been some criticism, so let's address it. Well, first of all, Master Chief spends an awful time without the armor, pretty much the whole season. And he gets emotional at times.
There's a part of me that's missing.
Again, I want to argue that this is a TV show, it's not a game. We are watching a character development, and even though it may not work for some people, I think it's good, right? They improved a lot from previous season and made the Master Chief more human and somewhat relatable. He's still a badass. The same happens with the rest of the team, so Kai doubts John's leadership and questions her allegiance. Reese goes through a lot, completing her arc, and of course, Vanak is no more. So all of the above is controversial. They are supposed to be Spartans, unemotional soldiers. And I get it, but at the same time, I think it would be boring. Season 2 definitely upped the drama and the Silver team got the end of the stick of it. I like they made it more real, even though it definitely diverges from the game. We also get a different Cortana look. Took me a while to get used to it, but she's definitely cooler in Season 2, especially in episodes 6 and 7. Maki, I'm still not sure about her, but I accept her and her obsession with Halo is well presented in this season. And look, I know there are still problems with the story and the pacing, and because they wanted to fix things from Season 1, there are some clashing ideas, like the Kessler subplot kinda slows everything down and is a bit unnecessary. But overall, I think it is the right direction, and I enjoyed the season a lot more than the first one. Is Halo TV series a success? Well, let's talk numbers. So apparently Season 1 has achieved more views than the Yellowstone prequel 1883 in the first 24 hours, a record breaking for the streaming service. It had a budget of around $10 million per episode, with 9 episodes in total, so a bit pricey. But at the same time, Paramount Plus saw an increase of 6.8 million new subscribers, bringing the total number to 40 million subscribers after Season 1. According to Paramount, Halo has been their most streamed show on the platform so far. There was an earnings call for the company, and it revealed that since streaming Halo, revenue grew by 148%, cashing in $585 million for the studio for the quarter. The reviews weren't amazing after Season 1, but they weren't bad either, and Season 2 is definitely getting more praise. They are also up to 67.5 million subscribers now, so it is a global hit, at least numbers-wise. But what is the final verdict? Among the discourse, the reviews, and the YouTube videos. Look, I can only offer my views. I played early Halo games, but after Xbox 360 I switched to PS4 and now PS5. So I'm not up to speed with the franchise and I haven't played the recent entries, so I'm not as precious about it. I also didn't watch the first season when it came out. I only started it when Season 2 started dropping and I heard good things about it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I really like it. Season 1 wasn't the greatest, but it kept me interested. And I also smiled when I saw the armor, the weapons, the buggy, the Covenant. It brought nostalgia and it took me back to when I played this first game. Season 2 was a huge improvement in my book. The look, the sound, the pacing, the drama. I watched Season 1 as a decent show, right? But I waited every evening to put on the next episode of Season 2 to see what happens. And yes, the changes from the games are vast. It's a new story set in a world of Halo. It is not a story based on Halo games. But I think the Master Chief, played by Pablo Schreiber, is spot on, even though some people don't like his more human side. Halsey rules, the action is great, and I get that a lot of people wanted him to be more like Mando, a silent, masked hero. And yeah, I enjoyed Mandalorian Season 1, but I haven't watched the third one after the mediocre Season 2, and I am not rushing to watch it. So it's not like Mando is perfect either. But the Halo creators decided to go in a different direction. And once we buy into it and leave our expectations at the door, it is a very good sci-fi show. And this time, I am looking forward to Season 3 and to resubscribe to Paramount Plus after I cancelled it, of course. Thanks for watching.
Halo, it's finished.
No, I think we're just getting started.